Today is one of my down days. I'm One day I'm getting up and shooting hoops in the barn, and then doing resistance training in here and button abs. You do resistance training, of course. You do button abs exercises, and then I'll soak, and then just and then one day I'll do that. The next day it's just pretty much if I have to do much of anything, I will, but I'll just kind of just relax. So I relax one day, get up and move around one day, not excessively or compulsively, just reminding the body we're still alive and it works. We'll do that, and we'll do one set, and we'll just gradually increase the movement and rest every other day, and we'll just keep doing that. And then, like I said earlier, to if Suzuki's so cool, if you like you don't feel well and you're resting for 3 days, you get back up and after 3 days you do one day of your exercise movement stuff, then you take the next day off, then you go back to one day. So just keep doing that. And so it's okay. So that's that whole Buddhist, if you thing. If you're tired, rest. If you're hungry, eat. If you're thirsty, drink. Right. So it's pretty much just being intelligent and just we'll go over that again. Survive, stop, eliminate abuse, and recover. And we need to stop and eliminate abuse and then recover. But we're surviving now. And even people that think they're thriving during abuse are not. And so they're surviving and they're not healthy. Okay? And then we need to stop and eliminate abuse and then recover and be healthy. Okay? And that's what I'm in the process of guiding and leading, leadership. You have to lead yourself to peace. I'm an example of how to be a faithful person, how to be a good person, how people understand that this kid was born a good and faithful person. He already was before he was born. Okay. And so, I was sitting there, they had the thing on there. My YouTube's a real pain in the butt to navigate through sometimes with on my Sony, and it flips back and forth between the buttons and stuff. And it went to news, and I went and saw a thing about Obama, and I don't know if I would watch that. Then it had a thing, sensationalized thing about, had a picture of Elon Musk and his kid. And it was kind of melodramatic, the thing on it saying, goes into the beast or whatever. So I was like, what? Okay, I'll bite. And it was just basically some people on Fox News, okay, talking about Elon Musk taking his child with him to go do government things, right, on his shoulders. And listening to them talk is like painful because these two physically attractive women with one with way too much makeup, sitting there talking about how, it's great. He's taking his son. You can see in 40 years from now, he'll be the president, like JF Kennedy Jr. or Robert Kennedy Jr. Yeah. Okay. But you're sitting there watching, and they're talking, right? And the one girl sits there and goes, well, he runs government good, and he's going to go clean up this extra spending in this big government and reduce our taxes. And you go, okay. And then she says, like what he did when he took over Twitter. He eliminated half the jobs that the Twitter people had for their people. So he fired half the people and then made it prosperous, for him, right? Okay. So a billionaire buys a company that was struggling because it was trying to spread the wealth. And then he fires half the people and streamlines it and then makes lots of money off of firing half the people. You go, well, yeah, that makes sense. Made it a more prosperous company so the people investing it could make more money, right? And when people get less taxes, well, what about the people that he just fired and don't have jobs now? Okay. Why don't you guys just live the Lord's Prayer and be like King Solomon, King David, and Holy Ralph, Holy Earl, right? Why don't you be more like us and less like you? And I don't think they hear that. I was wondering, I asked Dad, I said, do you think they're encouraged to speak this way to get people angry and fighting over money with technology? Or do you think they just don't know any better? They're just too gosh damn stupid. And I think I think they are trained and encouraged to do so. And I think they are too damn stupid to hear themselves talk. Because my family's this way. They will talk, well, we got to do that. Like I've heard my family over and over and over again, okay, gripe about the migration of Mexicans, okay, and say we can't feed and take care of all of them. We're not the babysitter of the world, right? We can't feed and take care of all these people that don't do things right in their countries. You do know that their countries are fucked up because of us. Okay, you're sitting there going, do you hear yourself talk? What would Jesus think of what you just said, right? And you've got to understand that it was a very short time ago that people like myself migrated to the place they call the United States of America. Okay. And in that migration, okay, there was wars that had mass genocidal operations that were very hideous. Okay. Between people that were already very violent and not very, quote, civilized before the people that look like me came here. Okay, you have to be perfectly honest. Okay. So these new people were supposed to be more civilized, and just because you have more forms of what you perceive as organization to your status quo genocidal class warfare doesn't mean you're civilized. It just means you act like you're civilized in mass extorting, exploiting, and murdering the populace if they can't compete or comply or won't comply. Okay. So you explain this to people. And so when you explain things like David, Moses, Solomon, or Daniel, or Muhammad, or Jesus Christ, people that are not similar to you get really upset with you because they have a different perception of Jesus Christ. Okay. And then you explain to them, but your perception of Jesus Christ is like Elon Musk and Donald Trump and Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Okay. My perception of Jesus Christ is like if you go read the book and say, hey, Jesus said forgive debt and trespass and love us. You see what I'm saying? So when you have people say, I believe in Jesus Christ, but we'll fight and kill over money, and then say Jesus told them to do it. And then you'll sit there and go, well, if you look at the book, he doesn't say to do that. He says to do this, right? And then they think, you're a liar, you're crazy. It's like, no, I think you are, and you're a liar, and you're crazy. And when I point it out to you, you want to shut me up. But if you look at the Roman Empire, with Jesus Christ, he told those people, you people are a liar and you're crazy. And they killed him to shut him up. And then they used some form of manipulation to turn him into a crazy sky god that is a psychopath. And that's not true. If you go read the book, me and Patrick were talking about it. You go read the book, it's obvious he's not saying that. He's not doing that. It's obvious that he has faith in an omniscient, omnipotent God. That he's telling us he's similar to the spirits of the fathers that gave us faith in an omniscient, omnipotent God. And he's the one that teaches us not to fall back into the trap of egomaniacs who try to turn God into a first-person possessive pronoun that's genocidal. Okay, if you go read the Gospels, that's obviously what's happening in the Gospels. Even though whenever there's an inconsistency in linguistics, when it establishes that God's omniscient, omnipotent, and not a first-person possessive process socio-psychopath that declares himself as God. Okay, when you go in the book and you read the book, anytime they refer to God as a first person or possessive pronoun, you know that this is a perception and linguistics errors of people writing the story down. It's not hard. Okay. Once you understand that, you can correct yourself. And when you study the Bible or you study the Quran, and you can correct yourself, say, okay, this is what's meant to be said. You can sit there and read it and then say, okay, here's how it's meant to be interpreted or understood. Okay, look at God as an omniscient, omnipotent essence of all life and not a human being, first person or possessive pronoun. Now, when you read it, it's okay. There's obviously a linguistics error here, but I do understand the intent of what's being said and how it applies in physics, that life is eternal and grace is infinite. It's not hard. Did you guys understand that? Because it was pretty easy. It's just not hard. It wasn't like Sheldon or Barney Kripke, being explained Spock. Because I still don't get Spock, lizards. No, I don't even do good at rock paper scissors. No, what? Which one's which again? It doesn't matter to me. I'm not that type of person. It's just I'm like play basketball. Okay, I'm gonna steal it. I'm gonna shoot over here. Okay, I'm gonna pass it. It's that whole thing when Ryan Clark was talking about Bill Belichick. It's like, it's not that fucking complicated. It's not that, no. You can either do it or you can't, or you can either stop it or you can't. Okay. That's football. Okay. You can either do it or you can't. You can either stop it or you can't. It's that easy. Okay. You can do a few trick plays and this and this and this, but when you get right down to it, okay. Now, with these two teams right now, Texas and Georgia, I'm watching, okay. And they're both so talented that it's you can either do it or you can't, you can stop it or you can't. And so they're both playing, and so you just have certain times you get opportunities, and you get out there and you throw the ball, and okay, if the kid catches it, you're fortunate. You probably might end up winning the game. If the kid drops it, oops, it happens. Okay, it's not luck. It's just get out there and try it. Because with Smith kid, he said, I don't know why he jumped when he tried to catch it. I think he's just he feels a lot of stress and he's a little nervous. And as a coach, you should sit there and say, hey, don't be nervous. Just relax. Go out there, run your routes, catch the ball in stride. Don't be scared about, this and that. That will try to set you up with good routes. And because most of the routes are running for him, he's quick enough, the Smith kid, that he can do it without getting, oh my gosh, they're going to come try to take my head off. And Herb Street was talking about with the Jackson guy when he hit the little 160-pound guy, is no, you shouldn't try to play through the ball. I don't know if the Jackson kid's athletic enough to do it, but if you play the ball rather than try to hit the player, you have a better opportunity of gaining possession of the football for your team. Okay. So trying to hit and knock it loose, that's just hoping that the next play that you'll be able to get there in time to stop it again. But if you play the ball and you're there at the same time, play the ball instead of playing to hit the other player to knock it loose. Play the ball, knock it up in the air to a teammate, or perhaps if you're athletic enough like myself, you can catch the ball and take it the other way. That's how you should coach defense. Okay, is to tackle and play the ball. Not to try to hit, to try to knock the ball loose, not try to hurt the other person, because you don't want it reciprocated towards your own teammates who are like your own family members. That's like, like when they were talking about assassinating the president with John Reese Geddes or Jr. or whatever his name was, with the Kennedys. And Robert said, we can't do that because then that means it's open season for all those other aggressive governments to take shots at my brother who's the president. Okay, so you don't, since you're all on the same team and you're like family, you don't want to take shots on Beck to try to hurt him because you don't want them doing that to Quinn Ewers, right? So it's tackle football. It's not Assassin's Creed. You call the Dookie dumbasses. You know how much I love you though, right? Okay, so focus on that Lord's Prayer because the technology is getting better and it's because of people like me and not because of people like you and Jeffrey and Nick Saban. Okay, all right, I love you. All right, peace out, man.